Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another episode of Music Biz Chat with me, Phil Aston. So I'm going to look at the album charts in the UK for weeks 10 and 11, specifically looking at the sales figures for the number one album. Then I'm going to look at some exciting news that's coming out about how physical music is performing, both CD sales and vinyl sales, but especially CD sales because they're doing so well after such a long time in the doldrums, so to speak. And then I'll just finish off with a few albums that are on my radar for new releases later in the year. So I'm going to start with week 10 in the UK album charts, and I'll bring up some of the stuff on screen where I can. And this was the week before last at the time of me doing this video, and Liam Gallagher and John Squire were number one in the charts, straight into number one. Rod Stewart, Jules Holland was at number two, and Bruce Dickinson had gone straight in at number 3 in the charts. And another album which I just received, which I'm going to be reviewing, is by Big Big Train, Their Likes of Us. Now, Liam Gallagher and John Squire's album had a total sales figure of 39,395, out of which the physical component was 34,747. So to break that down even further, there were 17,094 copies sold on CD and 17,654 on vinyl, and there were 2,468 digital downloads and about 1,179 streams. So the split between CD and vinyl sales for Liam Gallagher's album, John Squire's album, was about equal. So that was fab. Bruce Dickinson, he's had 5 number one albums as a frontman with Iron Maiden. This is his 7th solo release, his first for nearly 19 years, and it got to number 3 with sales of 11,801. I want to now flash straight to week 11 because I know a lot of you are interested in this, because I gave an absolutely stupendous review for the new Judas Priest album, Invincible Shield, and quite rightly so, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, the video has done incredibly well. It's about 12,000 views since I last looked, and I made the bold statement of saying I felt it was is my favourite Judas Priest album of all time. And very, very few of you disagreed. So many people also believe it's probably one of their finest moments for a band that's technically in their twilight era, with a band that's been through so many physical battles. It's incredible. So all the headlines about saying it's the best-selling, biggest performing album that Judas Priest have ever had. It got to number 2 in the album charts. Ariana Grande was number 1, so it was obviously competing against a big pop act, and heavy metal, of course, has always been the underdog. And Ariana Grande got sales of 31,228, of which physical sales were 11,607. Primarily, her achievement was based on streams, 18,771. Which is why I think what happened here with 55 years after they first convened in Birmingham in 1969, Judas Priest have had their highest position, an album that's gone straight in at number 2. This is their 18th chart album. It's their 4th top entry album, highest charting album to date. So that stat is absolutely correct. And basically, the consumption is 18,000 sales, of which nearly all of it is physical sales. So Judas Priest would have been number 1 for the amount of physical sales sold last week to get into the top of the charts. So that is absolutely amazing. You think that Glenn Tipton is 78, Ian Hill is 72, Rob Halford is 72 as well, and the voice he still has is absolutely incredible. So well done to Judas Priest there. I know somebody say, well, it's their highest charting album, but it's only been 18,000 sales. It's a different world. As I said, physical music makes up about 12 to 15% of overall music sales. And so, but that area of physical sales makes such a difference to the overall music business. This is where I'm going to go next, I feel. I'm going to go, first of all, the global music report, because this talks about the fact that super fans are driving physical music and merch sales, and it's making such a difference. Following a slower 2022, revenue growth last year was up 9.8% to reach $35 billion. And what I wanted to, the main thing I wanted to say here was that after a year of decline in 2022, physical music experienced a resurgence in 2023, with revenues climbing up by 4.6%. But I like this. Physical music is emerging as the industry kingmaker. So far in this decade, each of the 2 years that physical revenues grew, industry revenue growth was strong. And in the 2 years physicals fell, industry growth was slow, noted the media report. And the important thing I want to say here is that physical success is the difference between good and great. So yes, streaming is the meat and spuds of it, but physical music sales really does push something from being a good performance into being a great performance. And I just wanted to now bring that back from being a global look, but at the UK in particular, because that's where I'm based. And in particular, the key thing I wanted to show you or talk to you about is that revenue from physical formats grew by 12.8% in 2023 in the UK, having fallen by 10.5% the previous year. So this was led by a double-digit percentage rise in vinyl sales, which are now part of the kind of inflation index in the UK again, because they're selling so many, as well as CD revenue is also recovering. So while inflation was a clear factor, there are signs of the CD having turned a corner. High-value box sets. What did I say? I'd said, didn't I, that the CD box set, the CD format rules the world of the box set. That's its domain. It really, really is. So what we're seeing, as it says in here, Music Week, is recently the CD has reported the first value increase in CD sales in 20 years. Vinyl revenue is up by 18.6% year on year to £141.6 million, while CD posted a 5.4% increase to £97.2 million, following a 23.7% fall in 2022. So a year after generating more trade revenue than CD for the first time in 1987, vinyl moved further ahead when it made 58.2% of all physical music revenue. Now that's great, and the reason why CD isn't going anywhere, so all of you CD-only fans, don't have to freak out, don't have to worry about stuff, because we're talking about nearly £100 million a year in revenue from the CD itself, and it's growing. So we live in a wonderful time where, for those of us who love physical music, we're getting great choices with vinyl albums and CD box sets. It's just fantastic. I'll bring something up now that can show you that in a bit more detail. So you can see here CD, LP and other physical and what it's worth. Yes, because of the price factor in vinyl, it's worth more in revenue, but the CD is a huge part of that performance. Vinyl revenue is $141.6 million generated by vinyl in 2023. It was nearly 12 times the amount the format brought back in 2013. When it contributed just over 12 million to the market. So in 10 years, the growth in vinyl is literally off the scale. It really, really is. But also, as I said, let's talk about the CD turnaround. Vinyl has re-established itself as the biggest physical format in terms of income. CD label trade revenue has now increased annually in 2 of the last 3 years. It's up by 5.4%, as I said, to £97.2 million. So the rising demand for vinyl and CD releases has been boosted by annual events like National Album Day and Record Store Day. So the CD is being mentioned in the same sentence as vinyl. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. For those of you, as you know, I am multi-format man, but nevertheless, it's important to me that the CD has light shone on it, and to realise that there is a huge fan base for all formats. Physical music is niche, but as I said earlier, It is the difference between being good and great. If you get physical sales within your campaign as a musician, it's fantastic. So let's move now quickly on to some new release news. And I'll talk about these in more detail as more information comes on as well. So Bon Jovi, I've got a new album coming out in June called Forever. There's a video out already, and it's your typical and kind of anthemic kind of Bon Jovi tune. And Black Country Communion have their 5th album coming out in June as well, June the 14th. Ghost Stories by Blue Oyster Cult is coming on April the 12th. Lionheart, The Grace of a Dragonfly is already out, and I mentioned that because I interviewed Steve Mann from the band, and it's a great album, and I will do a proper review on that. Whom Gods Destroy is inbound, and I think many of you have probably already got that, but I just wanted to mention that because it's great. Orphans of the Ash is a band by Zal Clemlinson, the ex-Alex Harvey guitarist, and Ellipsis is out in April, and it's a really limited vinyl edition. New Horizon, Conquerors, is out on Frontiers on June the 14th. Fantastic power metal album. Older stuff, the Yardbirds have got a Live at the BBC 4 CD box set out on May the 3rd. Holland Does It, and Holland is a 4 CD Demon Records box set from the songwriters that wrote so many of the classic soul tracks in the 60s and 70s. There is an expanded Rebel Yell by Billy Idol, which is I've mentioned on the Now Spinning magazine website. Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs 50th anniversary edition, I've also mentioned on the website as well. But I'll mention other things as they come along, but those are the ones that are on my radar. So that's great news for the CD, isn't it? And great news for physical music overall. And the amount of change in the last 10 years, the amount of people who are now starting to collect music and enjoy physical music, it's superb. And once again, well done to Judas Priest and Invincible Shield. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, thank you for supporting me. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Please take care, keep spinning those discs, and I'll see you very, very soon.